to thank my colleague, Senator Berthel, for his comments. I agree with him wholeheartedly. I will tell the chamber and anyone watching that, I've seen some stuff come through this chamber, but I have got to tell you, this is borderline probably the most brazen and absurd piece of legislation that I have seen to date. It is somewhat shocking. Just how brazen and arrogant it is. And I want to paint that picture. I know we have only a short amount of time before the end of session, and that's unfortunate because this is a conversation that ought to go on, ad nauseum, because I believe it's so important for the people of the state of Connecticut to be fully aware of what exactly is transpiring. Through you, Madam President, I have a few questions for the proponent of the bill. I guess I will ask these questions to the kind chair of the Labor Committee, being that this bill has been presented as a labor bill, even though it is actually an appropriations bill. It's very confusing, actually, to find, what's going on and trying to get a grasp of what we're actually witnessing here. But I want to ask, because the way this has been portrayed in the press, the way it was described after this bill came out of the House, is that this is, in fact, the striking workers bill. In fact, all day long we've been hearing about how we're going to hear the striking workers bill. Is this, in fact, through you, Madam President, the striking workers bill? Through you?
Senator Kushner.
Thank you, Madam President. This bill is what it says. It is the creation of a fund in the Comptroller's office to assist low-income workers.
Thank you, Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Then why exactly is it being brought out by the chair of the Labor Committee? Through you.
Thank you, Senator Kushner.
Thank you, Madam President. I asked to bring this up because as the chair of the Labor Committee, I have spent my whole life championing the causes of working families and particularly low-income workers, so it's my honor and my privilege to bring out the bill.
Thank you, Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Madam President. So is it my understanding that the fund that's being created in this bill is not going to be used for striking workers? Through you?
Senator Kushner.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, the Comptroller will determine how to use the fund.
Thank you, Senator Sampson.
Through you, Madam President, is it possible that the Comptroller would use it for striking workers?
Thank you, Senator Kushner.
Thank you, Madam President. The Comptroller will determine how best to use the funds.
Thank you, Senator Sampson.
Through you, Madam President, is there anything in the bill restricting the Comptroller for using the bill for striking workers?
Senator Kushner.
Thank you, Madam President. No.
Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I hope people are listening. I really wish that I could actually get everyone to sit down with me for about 10 minutes and just kind of go through what has happened and transpired in this legislative session and look at the language that is before us. The fact of the matter is the last several years there has been a bill that has come before the Labor Committee, where I serve as the ranking member, and it has come before this chamber in the past, and we've debated the so-called striking workers bill, which is a bill, also an absurd notion, which is that we're going to use the state's unemployment compensation fund to award workers when they go on strike with unemployment. And I certainly am sympathetic to folks that are in a labor dispute and the fact that they need to feed their families and that they want to make sure that there's no interruption in their ability to thrive and survive in our state. But the fact of the matter is it's kind of ironic and somewhat absurd to suggest that people that voluntarily leave their job should be eligible for unemployment benefits. In fact, the requirements to receive unemployment compensation in the state of Connecticut are very simple. You have to be not working, not of your own reason. Someone has got to lay you off. You also have to be able to work, and you also have to be willing to work. And in fact, people that go on strike are none of those things. So I've debated very fiercely this proposal in the past to award striking workers because I believe that it is unbelievably unfair to the employer in such a situation because effectively you're asking the employer, who is the one who contributes to the unemployment compensation fund, to allow their employees that are involved in a labor dispute to receive benefits from that fund. effectively giving them a significant advantage in whatever negotiation goes forward. It is not the role of this body to interfere in that dispute. That should be on a level playing field. I fully endorse the ability of both parties to be able to get into that dispute. They should hash it out. They should absolutely be able to engage in a negotiation and debate the factors that led to the strike. And I believe that, the end result of that is often a better situation for all the parties concerned. The proposal that would suggest that somehow we should use something that the employer is paying into to benefit the employees while the strike is going on is just nuts. I don't know any other way to describe it. It's just nuts. And that bill has never succeeded, and for good reason. And, I heard all week long that we might see that bill. That bill's going to come, the striking workers bill. Well, guess what? The striking workers bill is still out there. They could have called that bill tonight. That bill is substitute House Bill 5164. I believe it's already passed the chamber, and it's eligible to be voted on. But that bill's not been called. Instead, what we got is some sort of facsimile of the striking workers bill, which apparently, in our discussion right now, the majority is reluctant to take ownership of as the striking workers bill. Well, the comptroller will decide that. Okay, so what we left to believe is that there is a fund being created that the state of Connecticut is going to effectively appropriate $3 million for and stuff it into a fund, and then we're going to give that to the comptroller of the state of Connecticut, and his job is to go ahead and do what with it? He's supposed to, according to the bill, monies in the account shall be expended by the comptroller for the purposes of assisting low-income workers. That's it? That's the whole language of the bill? We don't write bills like this. We don't write laws like this. We don't create a situation where the comptroller is the lord of this $3 million who gets to decide how it's spent and who gets it. Are there any parameters in this bill, through you, Madam President, or anywhere else for that matter, that would dictate the eligibility for these funds? Through you.
Thank you, Senator Kushner.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, no.
Thank you, Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much. I always appreciate the straight answers that I get from the chairman. You heard the answer, no. There is no details. It's just the comptroller's slush fund. That's what we're doing here, folks. This is the last bill of the 2024 session. The majority is creating a slush fund for the comptroller to use as he sees fit. I wonder if the comptroller even wants this fund. I wish he was here. I could ask him. I guarantee you he doesn't. No one would want to be stuck with such an irresponsible responsibility. And that's exactly what we're creating here. Is there any definition of what could be constituted as a low-income worker as defined in this bill? Through you.
Senator Kushner.
Thank you, Madam President. The answer to the good senator's question is no.
Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Is there anything the good chairman can tell me about the direction that the comptroller will be given on how to disperse these funds?
Thank you, Senator Kushner.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, the bill before us gives the comptroller the authority to determine how those funds will be expended.
Thank you, Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much. And through you, Madam President, is the comptroller typically trusted with money that in vast sums that he is the ultimate decider of how it's dispersed? Through you.
Thank you, Senator Kushner.
Thank you, Madam President. The comptroller has a lot of experience with vast sums. This bill in particular allocates $3 million for the comptroller to determine how to use for low-income workers.
Thank you, Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much. I can appreciate the comptroller does indeed deal with vast sums. Are any of the vast sums that the comptroller is in charge of left to his discretion on who to give the money to? Through you.
Senator Kushner.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I could not speak for all of the funds that the comptroller has control over or has responsibility for. I know some of them, but I don't know all of them, and so I could not speak to that. But I know that that's what this fund does.
Thank you, Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Madam President. The answer is no, clearly. I mean, the fact of the matter is whenever we appropriate money and we send it to any particular state agency, it comes with policy. It comes with direction. It says, we're going to give you this fund, and this is how you will manage it. And it comes in the form of lengthy bills with details and instructions effectively. This is not buying a bookcase from IKEA, where maybe you can get by without the instructions. We're giving the comptroller $3 million and no direction. Is it up to him to decide what a low-income worker is, through you, Madam President?
Senator Kushner.
Thank you, Madam President. The answer to the question is yes.
Thank you, Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Wouldn't it make more sense for this body to determine a threshold at which we consider people to be low income?
Thank you, Senator Kushner.
Thank you, Madam President. In this piece of legislation, this leaves that the ability to the comptroller to define how how best to assist low-income workers.
Thank you, Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much. I meant to ask that question rhetorically, but it's totally fine. I appreciate the answer, or facsimile of an answer, which is that, again, it's up to the comptroller. It's up to the comptroller. That's all we're going to get, because that's all it says. It's shocking. And another thing it is arrogant. I don't know why the majority would think that somehow they could get this passed this evening with such a short amount of time on the clock. And I don't know what the purpose of this bill is. I can make a lot of guesses, I guess. I think maybe that the folks in the labor movement were upset that the actual striking workers bill didn't move, so they're pressuring the majority to move a bill that will solve their problem. And instead, we've got this, which is hard to even fathom. Can I get, and I know I've probably asked this question already, but I'd like to get a really, really direct and solid answer. Is this bill intended for individuals involved in a labor dispute? Through you.
Thank you, Senator Kushner.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, bill is intended for who it says it's intended for, and that is to assist low-income workers.
Thank you, Senator Sampson.
Thank you very much. I know I can only ask these questions so many different ways, and I'm only going to get the same answer over and over again, and that's unfortunate. But that's not unfortunate necessarily for me. That's unfortunate for the people of the state of Connecticut who deserve better answers than that. And anyone listening to this right now knows that that's true. We're not in the business of awarding millions and millions of dollars to various elected officials in the state with basically no instructions on how to spend that money. And I suspect that no matter how the comptroller would disperse this money, there is a very good chance that it will end up being disputed by someone, and in fact may end up, resulting with a claim against the state of Connecticut. Because the fact of the matter is, if it is used in a case for striking workers, I think that the employer might have a case that the state of Connecticut is interfering in a labor dispute. So I'm just putting this on the record in case there's any people, folks out there who are really interested in the actual striking workers bill and have been sold a bill of goods that somehow this is going to make up for that, because the fact is it's not. We should have had a debate on that bill. The majority has a significant majority. If they wanted to pass that bill, they should have been able to do it. We've been here for 5 months now. Instead, 11:15 at night, on the last day of session with 45 minutes to go, that's when we're hearing about this bill that doesn't even have the courtesy of informing the minority or the public or anyone in the future who might actually look at this policy what it's really about. I can't say it any better than my good friend and colleague, Senator Berthel. Trickery is what he said. And for me, that's what it is. Brazen, arrogant trickery. And I'll definitely be a no tonight. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.